She sat at the defendant's table with her arms crossed, expression smug. Moments earlier, she had laughed, not nervously, but mockingly, as a solemn video of her taunting a tomb guard played in the courtroom. A security officer had to warn her to stop. This wasn't a traffic ticket or petty theft charge. She was here because she openly disrespected one of the most sacred symbols of military honor in the United States. And yet, her attitude didn't waver. When asked if she had anything to say for herself, she chuckled and rolled her eyes. But no one in that courtroom, not the attorneys, not the press, not even the judge, expected what would happen next. Because what followed wasn't about punishment, it was about dignity, and it left the entire room frozen in silence. The incident began at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in Arlington. A viral video showed her mimicking a guard's marching stance, laughing loudly and shouting, "It's just a guy with a gun and a costume." Tourists nearby were visibly shocked. Guards at the tomb are known for their discipline and silence. But this guard had paused, turned, and, in a firm voice, issued a warning. She laughed again, even as others moved away. The video drew millions of views within hours. Veterans groups called it deeply offensive, and petitions demanded action. Days later, she was identified and summoned for court on charges including disorderly conduct and violating ceremonial protocol on federal grounds. What began as a joke had now escalated into national scrutiny. In court, her disrespect continued. She whispered sarcastic comments, rolled her eyes at testimonies, and even smirked during the guard's official statement. At one point, she interrupted the prosecutor to say, "It's just a job. Relax." The judge warned her once, then again. But when the guard was called to give a personal statement, the room turned cold. She scoffed as he approached the stand, even mimicking a salute under her breath. The audience shifted uncomfortably, and the judge's patience was visibly thinning. It wasn't just disrespectful, it was deliberate. She was making a show of mockery in the very place she was supposed to show remorse. The tomb guard stood tall in uniform, composed and quiet before he spoke. Then in a calm, deliberate tone, he addressed the courtroom, not with anger, but with clarity. "This tomb represents more than soldiers," he said. "It represents sacrifice of people who never came home, who died without names, who died for hers." He nodded toward the defendant. "I don't need her to respect me. I need her to understand what that silence stands for." There was no shout, no accusation, just quiet truth. The courtroom grew completely silent. Reporters stopped typing. The woman's smirk faded slightly, her posture shifting for the first time. The atmosphere had changed, and it wasn't about punishment anymore. It was about consequence. The judge leaned forward, elbows on the bench, lips pressed into a line. For several seconds, she said nothing. Her eyes moved between the guard and the defendant. Then she spoke slowly, carefully. "In all my years on this bench, I have seen contempt. But rarely have I seen such a powerful display of restraint in the face of it." The judge paused again, clearly moved. "You mocked a symbol most people wouldn't dare approach without reverence. And yet, the person you mocked showed more dignity in 30 seconds than you've shown since entering this courtroom." The defendant looked stunned. There was no laughter now. The sentence wasn't jail time. Instead, the judge ordered her to complete 200 hours of community service at a veterans hospital, write a public apology to be published in a national veterans publication, and attend a 6-week educational program on U.S. military history and ceremonial traditions. It wasn't just a punishment, it was a lesson. And once again, she laughed, but this time it was nervous. The media response exploded. Clips from the courtroom, especially the guard's speech, went viral again, this time with millions praising his words. What had begun as a mockery ended as a public reckoning. This case wasn't about politics or performative outrage. It was about something most people overlook until it's disrespected: honor. The guard didn't react with rage or demand. He responded with dignity and purpose. And in doing so, he reminded everyone in that courtroom, and everyone who watched online, that silence can be louder than any insult. His calm, unwavering truth was more powerful than any punishment the law could offer. And it did what no sentence or fine could do. It exposed the real weight of disrespect, and it changed the narrative in a way no one expected. What happened in that courtroom wasn't just justice. It was a reminder. Symbols mean something. Service means something. And sometimes the person being mocked is the only one who understands that deeply enough to stay silent when others can't. So here's the question for you. If you were in that courtroom, what would you have done? Laughed along or stood up for the silence?